help people.
Very much so. And we don't want to, and like I said, we don't want to stop there, because I think there's something, there's blockchain something for everyone in every country. Big, small, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. There's something to be gained by being more efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Well, awesome. Keep up the good work. Keep working hard on this. I know startups are so hard. There's always a point where you just like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. And then when people start patting you on the back and things start coming around, it's just so rewarding.
And like I said, and that's where we are now. Like I said, we had that first conference back in February. They flew us out to Paris. Like, we accepted our award. We were on stage with some big names, and, in the blockchain and just in the business world, in the startup world. And that has snowballed into what we're staring on the pipe at right now. Like, Chris Bates, who is our chief security officer, and myself, we're going back to Paris in a week because we're going to be speaking and talking at the Viva Tech conference. That's crazy. Like, that's not supposed to happen to normal people.
Okay, well, go ahead.
And then in July, we're going to be on the West Coast in San Francisco, for another, and that's D10E. And we're going to be talking there. And that's, like, huge. All the big names in, like, blockchain are going to be there. And what's crazy is, like, 4 or 5 months ago, nobody knew about us.
Yeah, but that's just kind of how it works. All of a sudden, the light goes on and everybody knows about you. You start really, it starts being the hottest thing.
And now for us, it's go time,
Well, good for you. And I'll put your information up on our radio page, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. And I was so, amazed that, you would have me on your show. It was kind of that, once again, I'm getting really lucky lately. It's just been that kind of year.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your stuff with us. I appreciate it.
Very much so, Sarah.
Okay.
I appreciate it, too.
Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye.
If you want to learn more about Bitland, go to my website at sarahwestall.com and you can find their contact information there. Now we are going to be having Lou Altman come on, and he's going to talk about how you run your business backwards. So let's welcome Lou to the program. Hi, Lou. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sarah. Glad to be here.
What do you mean by running your business backward? What is that about?
Running your business backwards. Well, here's the thing. It's a matter of who are the most important people you're selling to. Now, I learned about 30 years ago, showing my age, that if I wanted to get the Sports Illustrated football phone, I would not have to be the customer that I already was. I've been buying Sports Illustrated magazine for, 4 or 5 years. But they came out with a football phone. Now, it was a $4 little stupid piece of junk phone. But it
was cool to
wow,
you.
How? Huh?
I said it was cool to you at the time.
It was exactly right. It was cool to me. So I wanted one. And I called them up and I said, hey, I'd like one. No, new customers only. Well, that didn't seem to make any sense at the time. And then last fall, just to fast forward, I got an offer from my cable company for the exact same package that my wife, because the cable happens to be in her name, was paying $184 a month for. I could get it for $99 a month.
Exactly.
I personally had never bought anything from the cable company before. She had had that subscription for 10 years. So when I talk about running your business backwards, the question I always ask is, why do you give people who have never bought anything from you before a better deal than the people who have been buying from you for years?
Well, now here's the deal. When you got that cable thing, was that a temporary deal for her, the $99, or was it ongoing? Or
I think it was a 2-year sub.
Oh, so you could get it for a long period of time for $99, but your wife couldn't because she's already been there for 10 years.
Exactly right.
And that's what cell phone companies do all the time.
Absolutely right. That to me seems to be backwards. Now, if you want to retain your clients, if you want to keep the customers buying from you, wouldn't it make more sense to give the people who've been with you the longest the best deal?
Well, I would think so, but now do they lose profit margins by they think that they're already there so they can just charge them as much as they can and they can make more money over the long haul? Or do you think that they lose more customers by alienating them when they see those packages?
Depending on the research that you go and you look at, and I've actually been spending a lot of time trying to find some, because I have a hypothesis that obviously I need some supporting documentation for before I go out to the world and say, hey, you ninnies, you're doing it backwards, you're doing it wrong. Here's my contention. It's just sort of the basic knowledge that everyone knows. It costs, 5, 6, 7 times, depending on who you ask, as much money to acquire a new customer than to keep the one you have. And I learned some interesting stats recently. I believe it was one of the cellular networks, their average cost of acquisition is $984. I saw another cell network that it's $315. So by those numbers, if you were to reduce, and let's just use the 984 because it really exemplifies what I'm saying. If you were to reduce somebody's bill by what would amount to $984 over 3 years, $300 a year, $25 a month, you're reducing their bill. So I guess I'd put it this way. What other network could ever compete with that? Come over to see us. Why should I? I'm paying less than you're ever going to charge me. It just gives you such a competitive advantage.
Or you almost set it up like you do with incentives for employees. You get your retirement fund if you stay here for 10 years.
Exactly right.
So if you're here for 3 years, you get 3 months free or something. Or the longer
you're here, the better a deal you get.
Or you get a reward,
As opposed to, we don't know who you are, but you should get a better deal than people who are already buying from us. To me, it just seems so dumb and short-sighted.
Well,
because now your cost of acquisition is huge. Not only because of all the marketing and everything that goes into it, but you've cut your margin on the front end, on the first transaction.
Well, I think
margin on the last transaction.
Well, I think the bigger problem is that everybody's doing it. So what's happening is everybody's being incented to jump ship. I know that's like that in the cell phone industry. Everybody just jumps ship because, I can save 25% if I just go here. My service isn't that great anyways. And so
what's the difference, right?
Yeah. So you go to another place and save 25%. And then the next time they jack it up and kind of mess with you, you go to the next place.
You go to the next one.
And so everybody's jumping around.
That was the credit card roulette that we all went through in the mid-90s?
Yes.
They have a better rate, so I'm going to move to them. They have a better rate, to move to them. The downside was that your credit rating got destroyed. And you mentioned cell phone companies. There's a network out there offering to cut your bill in half.
Yes, and so they're just they're cutting each other's throats, but they're in the long run they're cutting their own, because when businesses operate like that, nobody has any loyalty to anyone.
Absolutely right. Well, and unless price is the only factor by which you're evaluating who you do business with, and what I mean by that is I recently got solicited by the company that's offering to cut your bill in half. We can save you money. Well, some people would say, oh yeah, but you know what? I'm more about value than price. Because here's the thing.
Yes, I agree.
If my cell phone bill is half as much money, but it doesn't work where I need it to do, it's worth nothing.
Well, yeah, you would spend, there's a curve, right? I will spend 20% more to have better service, this much better service. But if they're the same, then it's all about cost, because their value is the same.
Absolutely right. And I would actually argue, given the profession I'm in, that it also depends on how you're treated once you're there.
Absolutely.
The adage of you get what you pay for is...
But that's part of your value, right?
It's true.
That's part of the value. So what one treats you better, that's a higher value.
Absolutely right. And some people absolutely don't care. You know what? I'm saving. I know somebody who is willing to spend $50 to $60 more for an airline ticket for what should be about a 4-hour direct flight. Instead of spending, I'll just make up the numbers, $400 to fly from point A to point B. She will spend $50 less and fly and take 3 different legs.
Oh.
To save $60. But you know what? It made your 4-hour flight 9 hours.
Everybody has different values.
But I saved $50.
Oh my God. Okay. But everybody has different values. I look for the direct flight. Unless I can save, if I can save $500, I'm taking those legs. But if I can't, then I'm not. It depends on how much you save.
It all comes down to how much, in that example, how much is your time worth? Oh, by the way, did I mention that she was hauling 2 small kids?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then I might.
Not worth it to me. Not worth it to me for $200. No thanks.
No. Well, you have 3 simple techniques to build client retention. What are they?
Well, I can't give you all my secrets. I actually have a lot more, but here are the 3 that I start with. And people ask me, where do I start a retention program? Here's technique number 1 on the prospecting call. The first time you ever talk to somebody to try to interest them in buying from you, you have to build in the fact that you want to keep them for a long time. This is not just a one-shot deal. This is not just, hey, special offer, come in and you'll get the best price. That's a very short-lived promotional item because eventually that special price will expire. What I prefer to do is if you work with us, you know what, we're going to take care of you. We'll take care of you in terms of price because we're competitively priced, but our service will be better. We will take good care of you. You'll get answers. Someone will answer the phone, on and on and on. So that's the first one. That's before the person's even in the door. In order to do that, and this is technique number 2, you really have to adopt a client mentality. And I differentiate customers and clients very simply. A customer is transactional. A client is relational.
Yes.
I buy gasoline and groceries as a customer from the store and the gas station. But when I go see my doctor or my accountant or my lawyer, I'm a client. You know why? Because they give me advice. And so I trust what they're telling me. It's the key to this is knowing who's buying from you, why they're buying what they're buying, and more specifically, why do they buy it from you? Why you over everyone else? Because if it's just price, then they're not going to last that long. Because in my view, customers are the last in the door. They want the lowest price, and when there's a better deal somewhere else,
exactly,
they're gone.
Whereas
so
clients,
yes, clients, and here's one of the other things actually that I've found over the years. Clients, when you make a mistake, and we all do, clients are so much more forgiving. Oh,
because
you messed up my invoice. Not a big deal. Okay,
they see you more as a peer. They see you more as a peer versus somebody that's there to service them.
Exactly.
And so you're there together as a partnership doing the best you can for them.
Right. And you said the key word, partnership. And it works particularly well in service industries and actually in the company I've owned for 17 years, Globalphone. It's a satellite telecommunications company. We've got a 90% client retention rate, and our average life cycle is 3 times the industry average. Why? Because we do all these things. Because we remove this thing that you have to deal with in your telecom world that takes up maybe 3% of your business, but why would you spend 10% of your time on it? Hand it over to us. We deal with it. We know what we're doing. You're getting the results you want, and you're done. That's the client mentality. And then technique 3, which I've just always believed in, give them substantial reasons to continue to buy from you. Everyone is out there. If you Google any of the products that my satellite company sells, everyone's out there saying, we have the best price, the lowest price, this and that. You know what? Big deal. Who's going to give me the most information, education, and value add so that I actually understand the implications? We're more focused on your result than just giving you the lowest price.
Well, if all you're going to do is compete on price, you're just in the commodity business, and you're going to...
Absolutely right.
The chances of you staying in business, if that's all you're competing on, is not very high. You have to be really good, really efficient to just compete on price. And it's just, to me, I'm sorry, but it's not worth it.
I don't believe it is either. And it's not a business that I want to be in.
It might be worth it for some, but not for me. It's not a for me business. Yes.
Never been my business model ever.
And it's awful. The people who buy from you simply on price are the ones that treat you the worst too, I think. And that's what you were saying. They treat you awful. They'll throw you away in a minute. It's just not a solid business foundation to build on.
And so to touch back on running your business backwards, you've spent how much money to bring them in? They didn't even last long enough to make up your cost of acquisition because they were simply buying on price. Yeah.
And that's what you do when you're giving people the best deal. They're price buyers.
Absolutely right. They're going to kick the tires and kick in the shins and whine and hem and haw. You know, I get phone calls from people. They say, hi, I want to buy a satellite phone. Give me the best price. And my response is, well, our best price is